Which series of classic Doctor Who would you most like to see released next as part of the BBC's Doctor Who The Collection Blu-ray series? I'm going to tell you which season I would dearly love to see next, and it might not be the one you expect, and then I'd like you to get down in comments and tell me yours. So even though I don't want to deal in rumours on this particular channel, I'm happy to talk about what I would love to see next in the collection series. And there are so many contenders, obviously. There are lots of seasons that I would like to see. There are also lots of individual stories within seasons that I'd love to have on Blu-ray. For instance, I'd really like to see season 25 released, but admittedly that's mainly so that I can have Silver Nemesis on Blu-ray. And Remembrance of the Daleks, obviously, but I really love Silver Nemesis. What can I say? I'm a Silver Nemesis guy. And I have a feeling that the Blu-ray version of Silver Nemesis is going to make the Cybermen look extra shiny. They're going to look even shinier than before, which is hard to believe. And so pretty much any series of Doctor Who that you'd care to name... Sorry, I'm wearing my glasses by accident. Let's get rid of them. That's better. So, as I was saying, any series of Doctor Who that you'd care to name is going to have serials that I'm really excited about. But there's one season of Doctor Who in particular that just feels jam-packed with my favourites. And here's what it is. It's season 15, which I have here in the form of DVDs. Yeah, you can get a quick run through of the titles there, but let's go through them one by one. Now, this isn't a perfect season. There's one story that stands out like a sore sonic screwdriver, but nevertheless, there's so much stuff in there, and I think some underrated stories. But this story definitely hasn't been underrated. It's the horror of Fang Rock. Oh my goodness me. I mean, this season 15, starts with the horror of Fang Rock. I know it's just called Horror of Fang Rock, you know, but whatever. I don't know, it might even be my favourite Doctor Who story of all time. And one day I will, as I've threatened to before, make a video solely about this story and, you know, 10 reasons why it's amazing. I'm not going to go into massive detail on any of these serials, but suffice to say that it's a really scary story. It's just pretty much perfect as far as I'm concerned. What a starter for a series. I mean, this is worth the price of admission of a season 15 box set in itself. I do realise that The Invisible Enemy here is not universally acknowledged as a classic, but it's always been a classic to me. It made such an impression on me as a kid. It really did. There are so many reasons to love it, and again, I'd happily make a dedicated video just about the Invisible Enemy. So if you'd like to see that, then let me know down in comments. Although, to be honest, I'll probably do it anyway, even if nobody asks for it. I love so many things about this, but mainly I love the way it becomes a different thing. The first episode is like a masterclass in building suspense, and it's got the whole kind of people being possessed type stuff going on, which I always love. I think it's just really creepy, and it also, the Invisible Enemy has such a sense of scale. You know, you really feel like you're traveling across the galaxy. It feels like we're visiting different places, like the hospital. Yeah, it's not just your typical Doctor Who story in 4 parts in one location. I could go on about this, trust me. And of course, one thing to say is that it introduces K9, and so that's obviously one reason to love it. Who said they hate K9 at the back there? Stop that. Get out. And another doozy. This season starts with an absolute trilogy of corkers, as far as I'm concerned. Image of the Fendahl. Oh my goodness me. Image of the Fendahl is one of the scariest Doctor Who stories ever. I mean, it's mad, that story. It really is creepy. I love the Fendahl themselves. I think they look great, and I love how Thea here looks. The what's her name? What's her name in terms of the Fendahl? I can't remember. She becomes like the Fendahl core or something. I don't know, something like that. But I mean, what's all this about? This is really scary. The whole image, even though she's got stuff painted onto her eyelids. Although I didn't notice that as a kid. She just had really scary eyes as far as I was concerned. Unfortunately, Blu-ray might well make it even more obvious that she has painted eyes on her eyelids. But still, it's incredible and really dark. I mean, yeah, the Doctor helps someone kill themselves at the end, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so here's the one that sticks out like a sore sonic screwdriver that I mentioned. The Sunmakers. Now, I must confess, I haven't seen this again since I first saw it in the 70s, when I was minus 10 years old. but I remember not disliking it. I don't remember being bored by it, even though I get the impression it's a bit boring, you know, a bit of a satire about the tax man. Jesus, that's not very Saturday night prime time. And the Sunmakers also doesn't seem very monstery. When it comes to Doctor Who, I'm like 12 years old, basically. I need a monster, a proper monster in each story. Otherwise, I really do lose interest. Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to watching this. I might well watch this before Christmas or over Christmas, perhaps, to see how it stands up in retrospect. Underworld. Here's a story that a lot of people don't seem to love too much, but I've always had a soft spot for it, and weirdly, I don't know why, but historically this is one of the stories that I will watch if I come home drunk. Not that that has happened much, or indeed hardly at all this year, but if I come home from a night out and I've had a few shandies, then this is one of the ones I'll put on. Also the Leisure Hive. Yeah, I've got no idea what dictates you know, what stories I want to watch when I come home 7 sheets to the wind, but for some reason Underworld is one of them. To be honest with you, it's been a while since I sat down and watched this one sober, so it's kind of hard to judge. But nevertheless, I really like it. I really like the I think there's some great imagery in Underworld. That mask is really cool, and also there's kind of almost like a sort of a, I don't know, it's like a fetish mask thing going on with sort of like hoods with like studded holes in them. I think those things look really cool. So yeah, not a stone cold classic, but I think it's a really unique and rather special Doctor Who story. Now lastly, again, this story is not everybody's cup of tea, but I have always absolutely adored it. And for me, the Invasion of Time is just the perfect season closer for season 15. I love the Invasion of Time. I love how it becomes something very different at the end of episode 4. That's one of my favourite cliffhangers of all time. Yeah, at the end of part 4, when the Sontarans turned up, my young self was so excited. I think mainly because that made the Invasion of Time my first Sontaran story that I had seen go out live, in the same way that Earthshock would one day be the first Cybermen story that I saw go out live. And the Invasion of Time, I mean, yes, the interior of the TARDIS looks pretty rubbish. It doesn't look very TARDIS-y, does it? No. You know, there are lots of production holes you can pick in the Invasion of Time, but to me it just adds to its charm. I really like Derek Deadman's performance as the leader of the Sontarans in this, whose name I clearly can't remember, but I love everything about it. And so, yeah, this is what I would like to see replaced by a beautiful season 15 box set with a typically gorgeous cover from Lee Binding. I wonder what he'd use as a visual for Horror of Fang Rock. Maybe a possessed Reuben or something like that. And then you'd have the nucleus of the Swarm, who I've always loved the design of. Doesn't look anything like a prawn. Okay, or maybe a bit like a prawn, bit prawny. The Fendahl you'll have on the cover, a funny little tax man. Underworld, some kind of really cool looking mask, and then of course you'll have Commander Store. Yeah, so that's what I would like to see happen. I mean, it's not going to happen. I mean, clearly the next Blu-ray box set is very unlikely to be the one that's directly after the last released box set in the series, which was obviously season 14, which was a doozy in itself. But nevertheless, I will love it when that happens. You'll see me do a special dance. I won't be doing any dances. Never dance, no. So here's what I'd like to hear from you. Which season would you, if you had the choice, which season would you most love to see released next in the Doctor Who The Collection Blu-ray series? And of course, tell us all why. Get down there in comments and let us know. In about 30 seconds, I'm going to put 4 other videos up on the screen for you to click on, and they're all going to be Doctor Who related, mark my words. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Hit like if you liked it, hit dislike if you didn't like it, and I hope to see you for the next one. Until then, don't forget to embrace your obsession.